Okay, so this is the worksheet that you are doing today. Hopefully you did really good on your quiz. And this sheet is just like the sheet that we did last time, except now it has fractions. So if you look at the roots, the solutions, the factors, and the quadratics, all of these have fractions. Now the easy one is right here on the graph. This graph is easy because it has pretty points. It's at -2 and it's at +7. Okay, so you would do this one like normal. Now remember, roots and solutions are the same. So write that on your paper. And then also write down that solutions and factors are not the same, they're different. Okay, and it's not just about changing the sign. It's more than that, and you'll see that in a little bit. If you want to graph, so for the second one, how do you graph 5/3? Okay, you would put that in the calculator. You would put in the main screen, you would put 5 divided by 3, enter, and it gives you 1.6. So when you graph it, you need to graph it somewhere around 1.6. So look on the graph, 1.6 is between 1 and 2, so put a dot in between 1 and 2. Then you do -1/6. So what is -1/6? You put that in the calculator as well. -1 divided by 6 gives you -0.16, and -0.16 is in between 0 and -1. So you would put a dot in between those two. And then you just kind of sketch what the graph would look like, something like that. It doesn't have to be perfect. But also remember that once you get the quadratics over here in the ands, once you get the quadratic, you can always put it in y =, hit trace, and that'll show you what the graphs are going to look like over here on the left side. All right, so let's continue. Remember, roots and solutions are the same. So if the roots of this one are 5/3 and -1/6, then the solutions would be x = 5/3 and x = -1/6. Because all of this whole column needs to be written with x equals, x equals, x equals, x equals, so forth and so on. Just like the factors right here, all of them need to be written with parentheses. So factors look like this on all of these, front and back, just like they wrote them here. But they're going to be different. Now, it's kind of hard to just move it over and change the sign. That's not how it works. So I'm going to show you how to get from the solutions to the factors. Okay, so on the bottom, you can use the whole bottom part to show your work, or you can get another sheet to show your work. So let's go from solutions to factors, and we're doing this one right here. So I have x = 5/3 and x = -1/6. And again, we are going from solutions to factors. So you draw the line, and you do not, listen to me carefully, you do not just move this over and change the sign. That is not how it works. We cannot have fractions in our factors. So I have to get rid of this fraction first. And no, we're not multiplying by the reciprocal. I need to get rid of the fraction. So fractions are division problems. What is the opposite of division? Multiplication. You're going to multiply by the denominator. So this one, you're going to multiply both sides by 3. And it cancels the denominator. So you don't have a 3 on the right side anymore. 3 times x is 3x equals, now all you have left over is a 5. Same thing over here. In order to get rid of this fraction, you would multiply by 6 on both sides. Get rid of the denominator. 6 times x is 6x equals, bring down the negative 1. If you did not understand that, you need to rewind and watch it again. I'm not done. I still have a 5. Remember, this needs to equal 0. So now you move the 5 over, change the sign. So you have 3x minus 5 equals 0. And this is your factor. So one of your factors is 3x minus 5. This other one, move the negative 1 over, change the sign. It becomes plus 1. So it's 6x plus 1 equals 0. That is your other factor, 6x plus 1. And that's how you're going to do it every single time that you have a fraction as your solution. Get rid of the fraction first and then move the number over, change the sign. It's like working backwards from the factors, because if they give you the factors normally, like this one, if they gave you 3x minus 5 and they asked you for the solution, you would have started like this, right? You would move the negative 5 over, change the sign, and then you would divide by 3 on both sides and get 5/3. So it's just working backwards. So you go ahead and write your factors on your sheet. And the factors are 3x minus 5 and 6x plus 1. And then to go from the factors to the quadratic, you do the box. So let's do the box for this one so that you know how to get to the quadratic. I'm going to erase this top part. Okay, so if these are your factors right here, in order to get the quadratic, you put these factors outside the box and start multiplying. So my box is going to look like this, with 3x minus 5 on one side and 6x plus 1 on the other side. And you start multiplying. So you can pause it. You can pause the video. You can work it out and see if we get the same thing. Or you can just continue working with me and then do the same thing with the other one. So 3x times 3x is 18x squared. 3x times 1 is a positive 3x. Negative 5 times 6x is a negative 30x. And negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. The diagonals, you combine them. Negative 30 plus 3x. Negative 30 plus 3 is negative 27. Negative 27x goes in the middle. You still have 18x squared in the front and negative 5 at the end. So this is your quadratic. And that's what you would put on your sheet. So that's 18x squared minus 27x minus 5. And I'm almost done with this. The last thing that I need to remind you about is that when you go from quadratic back to the box, from quadratic back to factors, you still do the box. So remember this one, you factor it. Okay, factor it, write down the factors. Once you have the factors, set them equal to 0 and solve. Set them equal to 0 and solve. For example, let's do this one. Let's find the solutions. Remember, put 2x plus 5 equal to 0, solve. 14x minus 5 equal to 0, and solve. My factors are 2x plus 5 and 14x minus 5. So you separate them, set them equal to 0, and solve. 2x plus 5 equals 0, solve. 14x minus 5 equals 0, solve. Move the 5 over, change the sign. That's minus 5 equals 2x. Move the negative 5 over, change the sign. That's positive 5 equals, bring down 14x. And divide both sides. On this one, divide both sides by 2. And on this one, divide both sides by 14. Put it in the calculator. X equals negative 5 over 2. And this one, x equals 5 over 14. And write those down as your solutions. Negative 5 over 2 and positive 5 over 14. So at this time, go ahead and finish filling out the front and start working on the back. Whatever you don't finish is homework, and you have a test tomorrow that is multiple choice, and I believe it has 8 questions. So good luck on the test tomorrow. Make sure you study. All of this is going to be on there. They will give you a quadratic. It will give you a quadratic just like the ones on this side. And you have to factor and give the solutions. Or you can go straight from quadratics to solutions if you know how to do that.